Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to explore.
Excellent. Well, today we're diving into a prayer for every occasion, 365 daily prayers. Now it's more than just like a list of prayers.
Oh, absolutely. It's really cleverly structured, actually, organized by month and theme to guide you through a whole year of reflection.
A year of reflection, huh? Sounds pretty intense, but also kind of cool, right? Like, imagine having that daily dose of introspection and that connection, you know?
Yeah, it's like the book is encouraging us to kind of sync our inner journey with the natural world, the flow of the year.
Ooh, I like that. So, like, how does that actually play out?
We'll take January, for instance.
New year, new me, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
January focuses on, new beginnings and resolutions.
Perfect timing, right? After all that holiday chaos, it's like hitting the reset button, get a fresh start.
Yeah. And the book even uses the Apostle Paul's transformation, remember, on the road to Damascus.
Oh, wow, yeah. Talk about a radical new beginning, like going from persecuting Christians to becoming one of the most influential figures in Christianity.
Exactly. It's a powerful illustration of how drastically our direction can change, and how we can discover a completely new purpose.
So what? The book is saying we can all have these, like, life-altering experiences.
Well, not necessarily that extreme, but it does suggest that we can tap into that same energy of renewal.
Right.
By connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
So it's not just about setting goals, but about aligning those goals with, like, a deeper purpose.
Exactly. There's even a prayer for January 1st, specifically about asking for guidance. Guidance in setting resolutions that honor God.
So it's not just self-improvement. It's about aligning with your, like, spiritual values.
Right on. It's a subtle but really important distinction the book makes.
I see. Okay, so then what? We're all set with our resolutions. Where do we go from there?
Well, then February rolls around.
The month of love.
And you know what? It's interesting how the book actually frames self-love in February. As a
reflection of God's love. It's not just about, bubble baths and face masks.
Okay, so deeper than just pampering yourself.
Much deeper. It's about recognizing our inherent worth.
Because
we're created in God's image. It's a pretty powerful concept when you think about it.
Yeah, I can see that. Instead of focusing on all our flaws and stuff, it's about appreciating, the sacredness of who we are.
That's it. And the book even ties this to Scripture, referencing 1 Corinthians 6.19-20.
Which says?
Well, it talks about how our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit. So taking care of ourselves is about honoring that, not just about ego.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful reframing of self-care, right? Okay, so we start with new beginnings, then build a foundation of self-love. Then what?
Well, March rolls around and it's all about relationships. Family, friends, the whole shebang.
Making amends after all those fights over New Year's resolutions.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe. But seriously, the book emphasizes communication, understanding, forgiveness.
So it's like building those relationships with those qualities. Exactly. The prayer for March 1st actually asks for guidance to nurture relationships with love, respect, faithfulness.
Mirroring God's love.
Exactly. Like our ability to love others stems from our connection with the divine.
Interesting. So it's not just practical tips, but it's about tapping into something deeper.
That's a great way to put it. And the book acknowledges that relationships can be messy.
Oh, tell me about it.
So it offers prayers for dealing with conflict, seeking reconciliation, finding peace in the midst of, difficulties.
So it's about building strong relationships, but also having the tools to navigate, the bumps in the road.
You got it. And then as spring arrives.
For a change.
Exactly. April's all about renewal and growth.
Makes sense, right? Spring, new life. Gotta align those themes.
Right. You've got prayers for hope and rejuvenation, for healing, for recovery, even for renewing our faith.
Okay, so lots of, positive vibes for spring.
You could say that. The prayers for hope and optimism are especially, powerful, I think. They really encourage us to embrace the possibilities, of the new season.
And trust in God to, lead the way.
Exactly. What about you, though? Do any of those themes particularly resonate with you?
I think the whole healing and recovery thing is really interesting. I mean, we all go through stuff, right?
Absolutely. And the prayers in that section are incredibly compassionate and encouraging, I think. They acknowledge the pain of healing, but they also offer hope, comfort through God's presence and love.
Is there a specific prayer for that?
Yeah, there's one for April 8th that specifically asks for God's healing touch to restore health and strength, both physically and emotionally.
That's really beautiful. So it's like a prayer for every occasion is sort of anticipating what we might be going through at different points in the year, giving us the tools we might need at just the right time.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it that way. It's like having a spiritual companion walking with us through the year.
Okay, so we've covered new beginnings, self-love, relationships, and renewal. And this is only through April. What comes next? Does it all just keep building from there?
Well, May brings us to a focus on gratitude and celebration. The book is inviting us to acknowledge the abundance in our lives, to express our gratitude to God, to others, and to ourselves.
So not just about, like, partying, but about cultivating a grateful heart.
You got it. It's about celebrating achievements big and small, giving thanks for even the simplest blessings.
So it's about actively looking for those blessings in everyday life, not waiting for something big to happen.
Right. And you know what else is interesting? There's a whole section on gratitude for nature.
That's cool, like being thankful for the trees and the birds and stuff.
Exactly. It encourages us to connect with the beauty of creation and to recognize it as a reflection of God's love and artistry.
That's important. Sometimes we get so caught up in our own little worlds that we forget to, appreciate all that's around us. Okay, so May is about celebrating life, expressing gratitude, finding joy in the simple things. What about June? What new adventures await us in the 6th month?
June is all about courage and adventure. It's an invitation to step outside those comfort zones, embrace new challenges, and trust in God's guidance as we navigate uncharted territory.
Ew, exciting. So we're shifting from an inward focus on gratitude to a more outward focus on courage.
You could say that. And it's not necessarily about like physical adventures, although, there are prayers for safe travels and such. It's more about having the courage to try new things, to overcome fears and step into who we are meant to be.
I love that. What kind of specific guidance does the book offer for, embracing that spirit of adventure?
Well, there are prayers for finding courage in new ventures, maybe a new job or relationship, even just, trying something outside your normal routine.
So prayers to help us when we're feeling a little scared or uncertain.
Yes. And these prayers ask for God's guidance, protection, and strength as we, navigate those uncharted waters.
I like that, like having a spiritual safety net, knowing we have that support no matter what challenges we face.
Exactly. And there are also prayers for overcoming fear. The book acknowledges that fear can be a major obstacle to growth, and it encourages us to face those fears head on.
To be brave and adventurous.
With faith as our guide.
It's amazing how the book uses the calendar year to guide us through this, like, inner journey, We've covered the first 6 months, new beginnings, self-love, relationships, renewal, gratitude, courage. What awaits us as we journey through the rest of the year with a prayer for every occasion?
Well, July brings a focus on freedom and independence. July brings a focus on freedom and independence.
Ooh, freedom, like fireworks and barbecues.
Well, maybe a little bit of that. But seriously, it resonates with that summer vibe, those celebrations of liberty we often see this time of year.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Like, the book is inviting us to align our, inner pursuit of freedom with all those external expressions of it.
Exactly. And it explores freedom on multiple levels, both personal and societal.
Ooh, that's interesting. So, what does that actually look like?
Well, there are prayers for, breaking free from bad habits, overcoming limiting beliefs.
So, liberating ourselves from those internal constraints.
Exactly. And then it also tackles those bigger issues of, freedom and justice in society.
Okay, so getting a little more political.
Well, not in a partisan way, but definitely encouraging us to, think about those broader issues.
So, advocating for those who are oppressed, working towards a more just world.
Yes. It's a powerful reminder that our spiritual journey isn't just about ourselves.
It's about making a difference in the world around us.
Right. And then as summer starts to wind down, August rolls around and shifts the focus, dedication and perseverance.
Interesting. So back to school, hitting the books.
It aligns with that back to school energy for sure, that sense of, a fresh start and renewed purpose.
Like we're all geared up and ready to tackle those new goals and challenges.
Exactly. And there are even prayers specifically for academic success, encouraging students to, approach their studies with diligence, that thirst for knowledge.
Always good advice. What about for folks who aren't students anymore?
Well, for those entering the workforce, there are prayers for guidance, strength, courage, to navigate those new responsibilities.
So no matter what stage of life you're in, there's something in there for you.
That's the beauty of it. It's tailored support for different areas of our lives.
I like that. It's not just generic spiritual advice. It's practical guidance for specific situations.
Right. But it's not all just about, those external pursuits.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. That dedication theme extends to our inner lives, too.
So like our spiritual growth.
Exactly. Deepening our faith, strengthening our prayer practices, committing to living in alignment with our values.
So finding that inner drive and commitment to excel.
In all areas of life. Studies, careers, spiritual growth, it's all connected.
Okay, so we've got freedom, dedication, perseverance. What's next? Does it get any heavier than that?
Well, September comes along, and the focus shifts to overcoming obstacles and navigating change.
Whoa, that sounds intense. Like life-throwing curveballs.
Exactly. Personal struggles, setbacks at work, relationship issues, fear of the unknown, it's all in there.
So like the book is acknowledging that life isn't always easy.
It definitely doesn't sugarcoat things, but it also encourages us to face those challenges with faith and resilience.
Okay, so what kind of guidance does it offer for, getting through those tough times?
Well, there are prayers for finding courage in the face of adversity, for persevering through those tough times, for trusting in God's guidance even when things are uncertain.
Even when we can't see the path ahead.
Exactly. There's even one for when we feel like giving up, reminding us that we're never alone, and that God's strength is always there for us.
That's really comforting, honestly. It's nice to know the book acknowledges those moments of doubt and despair.
It's real.
Yeah.
And it's important to have those resources for when we need them.
So it's not just about, weathering the storm.
No, it's also about recognizing the opportunity for growth that those storms can bring.
That's a good point. We learn and evolve through those challenging experiences.
Right. And then as we move deeper into autumn and, the end of the year approaches, October brings a focus on reflection and contemplation.
So taking a step back and looking at the big picture.
Exactly. As the days get shorter and the weather gets cooler, it's naturally a time for turning inward, reflecting on what we've been through.
Taking stock of where we've been and where we're going.
Both personally and spiritually. The prayers in October encourage us to look back on our journey, acknowledging both the triumphs and the challenges.
And finding gratitude for the lessons learned along the way.
Exactly. They're prayers for reflecting on life's journey, for finding wisdom and insight through contemplation, for meditating on God's faithfulness.
For being thankful for all that we've experienced, good and bad.
Right. And then, of course, November rolls around, and we're in the season of Thanksgiving.
So lots of turkey and gratitude.
You got it. November is all about gratitude and giving thanks, which aligns perfectly with the Thanksgiving holiday and that spirit of generosity, that's often in the air.
So, taking that gratitude theme from May even deeper.
Yes. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of difficulties, there's always something to be thankful for.
Counting our blessings, even when things are tough.
Exactly. And the book provides prayers for giving thanks for family, friends, health, work, even those challenges that have helped us grow.
So, being grateful for the tough stuff, too. That's interesting.
That's all part of the journey. And I really appreciate how the book highlights the importance of gratitude, not just as a feeling, but as a practice.
A way of approaching life.
Exactly. And then as we approach the end of the year and the celebration of Christmas, December focuses on joy and celebration.
So embracing the magic and wonder of the holidays. But I imagine the book probably goes a little deeper than that.
Absolutely. It encourages us to reflect on the true meaning of Christmas.
So not just about presents and parties.
Right. It's about celebrating the gift of God's love, sharing that love with others, finding that deeper spiritual connection amidst the chaos.
So infusing the holidays with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning.
Exactly. And there are prayers for finding peace and joy amidst the chaos, for connecting with loved ones, for sharing generously with those in need, for celebrating the birth of Christ with a grateful heart.
Sounds like a beautiful way to approach the holiday season. So we've explored the structure, the themes, and the heart of a prayer for every occasion. 365 daily prayers. What stands out to you about this approach?
What strikes me is how the book manages to be both deeply personal and universally relatable.
In what way?
Well, it addresses those specific themes tied to each month, but the prayers themselves are crafted in a way that can resonate with anyone, regardless of, their specific beliefs or background.
You're right. It speaks to that, shared human desire for connection, for meaning, for something greater than ourselves, right? And it does it in a way that feels very accessible and grounded in the rhythms of everyday life.
And I appreciate how it emphasizes the importance of a daily practice of prayer and reflection, even if it's just for a few moments each day.
Like taking a few minutes to just like pause and connect.
Exactly. It's a reminder that spirituality doesn't have to be something we compartmentalize,
Yeah.
It could be woven into the fabric of our lives.
So influencing how we approach each day, each season.
Exactly. So we've explored the structure, the themes, and the heart of a prayer for every occasion, 365 daily prayers. It's a resource that guides us through a year-long journey of reflection, connection, and spiritual growth.
No matter where we are on our individual paths.
Exactly. It's an invitation to discover the power of prayer and to find moments of peace, gratitude, and connection amidst the busyness of life.
But here's a question for you to ponder. What impact might incorporating a daily prayer practice using a resource like this have on our perspective on everyday experiences? It's something to really think about.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, would it make us more mindful, more grateful, more resilient, when facing those inevitable challenges?
It's fascinating to consider, really. Imagine starting each day with intention, just taking a moment for reflection and connection. Could it shift how you perceive things?
I mean, our reactions to things, maybe even our overall outlook.
It's certainly possible. Perhaps it would lead to a greater sense of grounding, a feeling of being anchored to something beyond the everyday routine.
Anchored to something bigger. I love that imagery.
It's like having a spiritual compass to guide us, especially when life feels chaotic and unpredictable.
Exactly. And I think that's the real beauty of this deep dive into a prayer for every occasion. It's not about giving you all the answers, right?
Right. It's about sparking your curiosity, encouraging you to explore these ideas for yourself.
To discover what resonates with you, find your own unique path.
Exactly.
Well, as we wrap up our exploration of a prayer for every occasion, 365 daily prayers, we leave you with that invitation.
To explore, to reflect, and to discover the power of prayer in your own way, in your own time.
Beautifully said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring and keep seeking.